Grizzlies select Steve Francis from the University.
This is a great day for basketball in British Columbia and for Vancouver Grizzlies basketball fans. It's my pleasure to introduce to you at this time Mr. Michael Heisley of Chicago, Illinois, the future owner of the NBA Vancouver Grizzlies.
That was the Vancouver Grizzlies. They're part of an expansion team in Canada with the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors had a little bit more success because they're on the East Coast of the map alongside with New York City and stuff like that. So they're a little bit more colorful communities that were more interested in basketball and things like that because there were a lot of color people on teams. Vancouver really didn't see basketball how the rest of the nation under Canada saw basketball. They kind of thought of it as like hip hop in the 80s type of thing. Like they were like asking if Dr. J was still like playing or something like that, and it's the 90s. So their first pick was Bryant Reeves. He was a center, white guy, 7 foot, big, like 300 pounds, rebound blocks, stuff like that. Then they drafted Sharif Abdul-Rahim. He was a power forward. He can shoot a little bit, 6'9", 220. And then they wanted to draft the face of the franchise, and they wanted to draft the franchise, Steve Francis, but he had his head in his hands. He didn't want to go. He almost dapped up his grandma damn near, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got traded to the Houston Rockets before he went to the Vancouver Grizzlies, and that pretty much ended Vancouver because the fans didn't really understand basketball at that point, and neither did superstars. So in Vancouver. So now they moved to Memphis, and the Memphis Grizzlies point guard is Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway is from Memphis. He went to college in Memphis University, and he played for the Orlando Magic and the Phoenix Suns, and then later the New York Knicks. But I feel like for him to play for the Grizzlies would be crazy. Ja Morant times 3, because he's almost damn near the original Ja Morant. He's 6'7", 210. Not exactly wiry, but not exactly the biggest. Not exactly the fastest, but can jump the highest. And he has playmaking skills out the ass, his dribbling skills. His practice before and after games reminds me of James Harden, because he invents things. He invents certain dribbles and ways to move that looks different and successful to where people want to emulate it. The double step back. And the step back just got reintroduced by James Harden, really. But his passing was immaculate. He can rebound the ball. He can jump out the gym. He can dunk. He can dribble. He played defense. He blocked shots. He did everything. Kendall Gill, speaking of doing everything, played defense, shot the ball, dribbled a little bit, can go to the rim. Not exactly the highest jumper, but a creative one at that. He was 6'5", 200. Pretty much had a solid career. Later on known as a jump shooter, but earlier in his career kind of known as a dunker. Didn't necessarily average over 25 points or anything like that. But just from college to the NBA, he was just a solid player. Jim Jackson, 6'6", 225. Had some weight on him, but he used it to his advantage. Not exactly like he wasn't the most athletic, because he can get up there. You know what I mean? He was going to get up there no matter what. He could shoot the ball also. 3-point mid-range. Can dribble a little bit and dribble to where he needs to go. Not really a crazy playmaker. Not going to average more than 4 assists or nothing like that. Didn't really rebound that great, but was a small forward, shooting guard type guy that was dependable. Averaged over 20 points on the Mavericks for a few years. Pascal Siakam, he has a ring with Kawhi Leonard He was one of the projects that the Toronto Raptors scouted out and drafted. And he's 6'9", 220, a power forward that can shoot the three. He can dribble, go to the rim. He can play make. He can pass the ball. He can play defense. He can rebound. Pascal pretty much isn't excellent at anything, but he's good at everything. So that's what makes him a prize and a good fit for the Grizzlies, because everyone is going to be all over the court, but at the same time, it will be organized noise. So Pascal Siakam is definitely a dangerous weapon for a center like Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol is Paul Gasol's brother, younger brother. Usually the younger brother is bigger, so he's 7'1", 250. He was traded for Paul Gasol for him to go to the Lakers, because Marc Gasol was drafted by the Lakers. The Lakers didn't really know what they had. Marc Gasol was pretty raw. He ended up becoming one of the best centers to ever touch the court in Memphis. He's known as the Memphis era, the grind era. That's why they like the Grizzlies so much, even though it didn't make sense. It made sense in Vancouver, but they still like Grizzlies because they grind. And it was the grind era, and with Zach Randolph. And he can do anything in the post. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the mid-range. He's a defensive-minded guy. He loves blocks. He also has a ring with Kawhi Leonard. Reggie Theus, lesser known to the folks my age and younger. 6'7" point guard. Yes, a 6'7" point guard before Penny Hardaway. Here he is going against Magic Johnson. He doesn't necessarily shoot the three, but he shoots the mid-range very well. He can dribble the ball. His playmaking is better than his passing, but he is very reliable in the mid-range. Also, he can get to the rim. He doesn't necessarily dunk on everyone. He's not one of those guys that use his athleticism and his size the way Penny Hardaway does. Penny Hardaway does it like literally the perfect way, but Reggie Theus does it more of a finesse way, but still a smart player, a point guard. Herb Williams, 6'11", 265, really big guy, rebounds, plays defense, dunks. Kelly Oubre Jr., really fly guy. You can check out some of his YouTube stuff about his clothing. He's really serious about his clothing almost as much as basketball. Plays really good defense. Will Barton, 6'6", can play the 3, can play the 1, can play the 2. PJ Washington, 6'5", power forward, 240, can shoot the 3, do a little rebounding, needs some defensive work. Davion Mitchell, Spider Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell's brother, point guard, still developing. Joe Ingles from Australia, can shoot the ball, does sneaky dribbling, 6'8". Kevin Porter Jr. goes crazy sometimes as far as getting 50 points or throwing food at his coaches. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, 6'10", prospect power forward. Scott Brooks, I feel like, would be a really good coach for this Memphis team, because it reminds me a little bit game plan wise of the Thunder. You know, you can have Russell Westbrook as Penny Hardaway right there, and you can switch KD for Marc Gasol. There'll be a little bit more posting, but at the same time, he kind of handles Serge Ibaka, and he has Steven Adams and stuff like that. And I really feel like he knows the scheme of grinding hard, but at the same time, doing what needs to be done on the perimeter. This is Scott Brooks as a journeyman in the NBA. He knows what it takes. I told you, usually the role player is the best guy in management, and Scott Brooks is one of those guys. Mid-range scoring, three-point scoring, layups, defense IQ, low post offense, obviously all strengths. Steals and perimeter defense might need a little bit of work. Penny Hardaway might need to go crazy on the steals, but that's okay. This is the Memphis Grizzlies.